coach, would they be, would they be 25 wins and in fourth place in the West? I don't know if it'd be like that, but
of course, if they had that kind of coach, they probably never would have traded for Butler.
Correct.
We were talking about a completely different
it's
team,
totally
for better
different team.
or worse.
But right now, I think what we do see is a lot of times in games when things are going poorly, it's hard for them to stop the bleeding, and so that is indicative of a team that is searching and a coach that is searching for answers and can't really find them. And so, I think, whenever you get in this spot, there's plenty of blame to go around. But one of the things that I think is lacking in Tibbs's delivery and Tibbs's job performance is that ability to kind of have your finger on the pulse a little bit more and find a button to push that in the middle of games that sort of flips the switch or whatever you want to call it and gets them back into it. And we haven't really seen a whole lot of that from Tibbs in his two plus years here.
A lot of really good Twitter questions, so let's get to those. Also, well, actually, let's talk first about Taj Gibson and his Instagram account, then we'll do some Twitter questions. We do want to thank SodaStick, sodastick.com. It's S-O-T-A is in the end of Minnesota, sodastick.com. And listen, I know I'm scrambling around for Christmas presents for like knickknacks, stocking stuffers, and you may have already missed the deadline for getting things that you can have delivered in time. SodaStick is there for you. If you need a last-minute gift, get a sodastick.com gift card. Use the code STOCKING at checkout for 10% off any gift card. They're delivered directly to your inbox. You don't need to leave your house. You don't need to find the crowds, and you will have it immediately. Click the image, go to sodastick.com, and right up there on their homepage, they have a place you can click. You can get a gift card for as low as $10. And then you can use it to get the basketball-themed Minnesota sportswear, the Axe is back T-shirt, women's, men's, children's, knickknacks, homie cards, hunting stuff. They have a hockey stick ice scraper. They have a 3-piece hockey stick barbecue set. They have all kinds of cool stuff. Check out sodastick.com and use the promo code YouBetcha if you just want to get the free shipping. And then obviously use the promo code STOCKING if you want to just get the gift card. We do appreciate SodaStick and all those who patronize their business, another great local Minnesota business. So what was going on with the Gibson thing?
Well, it's weird. So Taj Gibson left the team last weekend while they were in Phoenix because his aunt died, and they're very close, and so he went back to North Carolina for the funeral and to be with his family. While he was away, the Wolves lose to the Suns. There's obviously a lot of angst on Twitter and Instagram from fans and belly aching about Tibbs and belly aching about Jeff Teague, who has not played well of late. And so it's brought to the internet's attention that Taj Gibson's Instagram account liked 2 posts, one critical of Jeff Teague, one critical of Tibbs, saying he needs to go. And so, of course, that was a controversy. And, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Here's the next sign of Timberwolves dissension and a broken locker room, and Taj has to explain himself and all of these things. I get worn out by these things in general. I don't like the Kyler Murray, let's go back and see what he tweeted as a 13-year-old and let's hold his feet to the fire. And the main issue with this one is that if you know Taj Gibson, if you know this team, if you know how all of this operates, the likelihood that he intentionally liked 2 posts that were critical of Tibbs and Jeff Teague is like 0.001%. I mean, he is the ultimate team guy. He is never one who would publicly put anybody on blast. He is a Tibbs loyalist. He believes in Tibbs. He has Tibbs back. He, is one of Jeff Teague's good friends on the team. He always has had a huge amount of respect for Teague. And so something happened, whether it was somebody else with his account, whether he accidentally liked those by, fat thumbs or whatever. Something happened that it wasn't meant to happen. And, I know I've heard from people, well, you have to do like 2 or 3 different things to make a like on Instagram, and so it's clearly intentional, but I'm just of the mind that there are some players that deserve the benefit of the doubt, and Taj Gibson is one of those guys. And so, I was not interested at all in making this into a big deal. He said that, that he has no idea how it happened. And so I believe him. There are plenty of guys around the league and in that locker room who I could see doing something like that. Taj Gibson is not one of those guys. And so until there's more clear evidence that he was disappointed or disenchanted or whatever, I'm not going to let that one kind of be the next Timberwolves in turmoil headline.
Let's do some Twitter questions. So we have some good ones today from Rick Wilson. I'm sorry. Completely wrong account. I got to flip back over here from Ryan Rand. Wiggins just isn't helping this team win anymore. How much longer can we afford to play him these heavy minutes if we want to make a serious playoff push?
Well, I mean, it's interesting because I would argue that Wiggins is playing okay right now. But what we have seen lately especially is that those minutes are shrinking. Tibbs over the last maybe 3 or 4 games, 4 or 5 games, has had Wiggins not coming back in the fourth quarter until 3 or 4 minutes are left. And so you're seeing a little bit of a change in the rotation, a little bit of an adjustment being made to try and find other answers. And so, yeah, I mean, Wiggins is not is not lighting the world on fire. He is not playing to the level that they need him to play to justify that contract. But he is helping defensively. He has been rebounding better. I think he had 6 or 7 boards last night. And he's he's getting to the rim a little bit more. And so I've seen sort of an uptick in the way that he's been playing. They clearly need a heck of a lot more from him to kind of keep pace in the Western Conference. But I have been encouraged by what I've seen from Tibbs in the way that he is sort of waiting in the fourth quarter and going with that second unit and going with more energy. Okogie is getting more minutes. A few other guys are getting better turns in the rotation because, I think he's gently trying to say to Wig, like, look, man, if you're not going to be more dominant and play with more force, you're not going to get as many minutes in the fourth quarter when it's time to pay the bills.
Absolutely. From Brian Francois, what headline is more likely in late April? Billups returns to Minnesota as GM, or Monty Williams comes back from personal tragedy to once again be head coach for the Wolves?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. Like I've said before, like I think I'll address more substantively any sort of speculation about who will be in the job here if the job comes open. I think we can all see that the deck is stacked against Tibbs. It looked like they were turning a corner right after the Butler deal, and
I jinxed him. I wrote something nice about him.
You did, and it looked like, okay, maybe he can kind of get things going and salvage this thing. Now with their latest sort of swoon, the seat is really hot again. But there's going to be, if they make a move and if they go out into the market, there's going to be a long list of guys who would be willing and ready to come in and work here and work with this roster and take this thing over. There will be no shortage of applicants. There will be no shortage of candidates, and if and when that happens, we'll discuss that in full.
Yeah, and Jon is a reporter and a beat writer, and he's got to be careful about that kind of speculation. I'll just say that it's pretty obvious. This is entirely Tibbs' creation. If they win, as they looked like they were going to be doing a couple weeks ago, Tibbs gets all the credit, and if they lose, he gets all the blame. He's the GM, he's the coach, and if this collapses, he's got to go.
Yeah, and it will be, the question will be, Glenn Taylor kind of tried to go against his history and like all the criticism of, he only hires people he knows and stays in the country club and all those things, and he did not know Tibbs. What is going to be key here is, will he kind of overcorrect, go back to a face and a name that he knows and is familiar with?
That's the thing, that is the one thing about the Wolves, is they're going to be interesting even if they're bad. Because something's going to happen here, one way or the other.
Yeah, there's a lot of intrigue, and just getting back to kind of the larger picture of, are they good enough? I mean, that's a major question that you want to answer, ideally by the end of this season. But the one thing I was talking about with Britt Robson, my colleague, at the Athletic just last night, is if they're not good enough, what is available to them in terms of plan Bs? And there's not a lot of them, given the contracts that they have out, given where they are from a salary cap standpoint. I mean, a lot of these guys are their guys for better or worse, and so it is incumbent upon the players, the coaches, the executives to do whatever they can to develop the talent that is right here, because it would be hard to make wholesale changes to the roster if they deem those necessary.
Max asks, please give the percentage chance that Tibbs is out before the season ends. I don't know if John's comfortable with that. I'll say that 2 weeks ago I thought it was 20%. Now I think it's like 65%.
Yeah, I mean, I just said the odds are stacked against him. There's still plenty of time in the season that, if there is a turnaround, that things can change for the better. But I think everyone around here knows that he's coaching for his job, and so we'll have to see how it all plays out.
From Steve Horan, clearly losing the 3-point war again. Is that an example of where a new coaching philosophy is needed?
Well, that's a great question, because 3 of their last 5 games they've allowed an opponent to hit at least 19 threes. That's a ton of threes. In one of the other games, the opponent hit 14. So not only are they giving up a lot of threes, but they're not making a lot of threes themselves. Now, what you hear every single day from Tibbs is that he wants them shooting threes. Shoot. But it's not translating on the floor, and that gets back to, again, okay, there's coaches who know what they need to do, and then there's coaches who can get players to do it. And either are the players not listening, or is there a recognition internally all the way around that they don't have a ton of knockdown 3-point shooters, and so do they hesitate just because of that? I mean, we have seen Jeff Teague hesitate time after time when he has wide open looks and he kind of double pumps and clutches and then dribbles in and tries to get something going another way. I mean, Wiggins has really early on in the season, he was fairly prolific trying to shoot the 3-ball. That has waned some in the last month or so. So they have Towns who shoots it a lot. Covington is shooting it more. Dario likes to hoist them, but beyond that, they're not playing Anthony Tolliver. He's their one true gunner, and so I think there are some roster limitations as well that limit them there, which is obviously a huge issue, because you go into every game essentially trading 3s for 2s, and that gets really difficult. I mean, that's what was so kind of encouraging earlier in the year, and still is, that Derrick Rose is shooting 48% from 3. they need him to shoot more of them, frankly, if he's going to shoot at that clip, because otherwise they are just